Hello and welcome to the Marketing Mix. I'm really excited to have Louise Cox with me here today. Now, every small business wants to stand out. We want to get noticed and we want to get our products and services noticed. And one great way to do that is PR. And that's why I've got Louise with me here today. She's, as you can see on the screen there, she's a PR expert. And she's going to share with us her sort of hints and tips, her expertise, her insider knowledge in terms of how we can get featured in the press, I guess, press, TV. What I'm going to ask you to do first, Louise, is just introduce yourself, tell us a bit about your business. I know you've got quite a good backstory, so tell us.
Thank you so much for having me today. So my name is Louise and I am the founder of Louise Cox PR. So I teach product-based businesses how to get featured in the press to reach new audiences and grow their business. And I've been doing that I've been working in PR for over 15 years, but I've been teaching people how to do it for the past 3 years. And it's just amazing. I've seen so many fabulous transformations from people that have known nothing about PR that have gone on to get regular press coverage, which has really helped transform their business. So I'm excited today to share all my knowledge with you guys.
Cool. So let's start off with why small businesses should consider PR, because like a lot of the talk is around social media. You must be on social. You must be you must be on this place. Must be. But what is the benefit of PR for small businesses?
Yeah, I absolutely love PR because it does take away that reliance somewhat on social media, and it does help you reach so many new audiences. And I think some of the key things or benefits of PR are that firstly, it can help build your email list. And I am so passionate about this because having an email list, I know exactly, it's so important. It's gold. And PR is one of the ways that can help you build that list, because what happens when you get featured in the press? Although everybody is like, I'm going to get a load of sales when I get featured in the press, I'll be honest with you, that doesn't always happen. That's very rare. You're going to get a whole load of sales and inquiries, money coming through from getting featured in the press. But if somebody is coming to your website, whether they're looking to purchase your product or your service, you need to be capturing their email address. So the PR is just like that sort of the start of the funnel. It can help get people into your world, and then it's up to you obviously to have all that stuff on the back end to nurture them and turn them into your paying customers. But that is one of the huge benefits, that it can help grow your email list. The other benefits are things like opportunities that it can open up for you. I've had several product-based businesses over the years, and so many opportunities have come from being featured in the press, such as getting stocked in shops, because it's not just you and I that read magazines, it's shop owners, boutique owners, salon owners. So we've had opportunities there, but it also helps grow your social media as well. Let's not, it can be key for that, especially if you're getting featured online, and then somebody's like, well, I'm the first person that goes, I'm just going to see what they're doing on Instagram before I decide if I'm going to go and follow them or whatnot. So I'll head over there, and if I like what I see, I'm going to hit that follow button. So it will affect your social media account. But like I say, sales do come from PR sometimes, but I always think they are a bonus. They're not something we should rely on with our PR, because our PR, first and foremost, is about raising our reputation. But like I say, sales do come. I've had them through my product-based business. We had a read diffuser in Prima a few years ago, got £1,400 worth of orders when that magazine came out, which is awesome. So, sales can happen. But like I say, PR, all about raising your awareness. And I think I just want to add there that when we talk about PR, PR in its, form is about reputation management. But what we're speaking about today is media relations and publicity, using the media to get your products featured in the press and, giving you publicity, because PR encompasses everything from like blogging, lobbying, public affairs and everything. Mm-hmm. So it's such a big topic.
Out of interest, can the same happen for service-based businesses? If you don't have the product, can you get featured based around your service?
Yeah, most definitely. With your service, you just need to position yourself as the expert, as that go-to person. So, I mean, I've been featured in the press with this business, and then obviously it's a bit harder to get featured in there. But I've been in Women in Home magazine. I've been quoted in Forbes. So you can definitely get your service-based business featured in the press. It is just about thinking about different hooks and ideas around what's happening in the world, what can you piggyback on, and what tips and advice or comments can you give to journalists to get yourself featured in there. But yeah, definitely service-based and product-based businesses can be featured.
Okay. So would you say that a small business can DIY their PR, or should they work with an agency or a consultant?
Yeah, absolutely. You can DIY it yourself. And anybody that tells you you can't are lying. Once you know the steps to get featured in the press, it's literally a rinse and repeat formula. The thing I think that stops people is that everybody says, oh, you need to use an agency. You know, PR is not for you, small businesses. It's only for those big boys with the deep pockets. And that's not true at all. Any small business can DIY their PR. And it's so easy to do once you know. And journalists want to hear from, small businesses. They want to fill their pages with products and services and comments that aren't just run of the mill stuff. So most definitely do it yourself. And I think that gives you a good grounding then for understanding how PR works. And
Mhm.
then if you decide to then work with an agency or a consultant, then you know what to expect as well. You know how the process works. So it does give you a foundation for that.
I'm glad you said that, because I always talk about knowing how, all the different bits of your marketing work
Yeah.
before either hiring, getting an employee, or outsourcing. It's really good to know how everything works before you get someone else to do it
Mm,
for you.
exactly.
So, if you're going to DIY your PR, what prep do you need to do to make sure that you're ready to approach journalists?
Yeah. So I think there are some key things. And the first thing is to know what you want to achieve through your PR. So if you want to achieve putting yourself out there as the go-to expert, you need to know how you're going to do that. What magazines are going to be the most relevant for you to get out there and be in front of the people that you need to be in front of. I also think you need to know you need that email stuff on the back. For me, getting featured in the press and then doing nothing with the people that are going to come to your website is madness. You definitely need to have that pop up on there, or however you're collecting the email address, and then all the nurture sequences on the back. That is key. I say that to everyone, whether you're a product-based business, a service-based business, you need that, because you're going to get an uplift in traffic to your website, and you need to grab it and make
I've
make
never
use of
thought of
it.
PR. I've never thought of PR as a way to grow your email list. So
Yeah, no,
that's something I've learned today.
think that is what thing I say the most. This is what it will help you do, because everybody will talk about how it will help you raise your profile and everything. Let's talk about the actual practicalities of it. It
Yeah.
will help you grow your business, but you need to have, like you say, you need to have all those bits on the back end, and make sure you're gathering all the data. I also think you need to have things like, excuse me, a really good mindset, because PR is not one of them things where you're going to whiz off an email to a journalist. They're going to come back to you and be like, oh, we really need you in our magazine. It's going to be amazing. Sometimes you send 3 or 4 emails, you don't get anything. So you really need to have that mindset that it's not me. It's just not the right time for me
Yeah.
at the moment, because journalists might all be working on something. So maybe you're, I don't know, a life coach, and you send some ideas on, I don't know, spring cleaning your life or something like that. I
Mhm.
don't know. And, it just might not be the right time for the journalist at the moment. So it could be that later on down the line, they could come back to you with a different idea. So you really need to have that thing that it's definitely not me. It is the journalist. It's just not the right time. I always tell people that when they're going into PR, they need to always remind themselves how great they are. So whether they are selling products or looking at the testimonials from their clients, just to remember that you are amazing, you've got this. And just because the journalist doesn't come back to you right now, it doesn't mean they're not going to come back to you further down the line. But it is about, keeping consistent with your PR as well, because this is the thing, we'll email them 1 month, nothing. We'll email them 2 months, nothing. And then people just go, PR's not for me, no one's interested. And that could just be that breakthrough the next time you email them. So mindset is absolutely key. Some of the things you might need are images, especially if you're a product-based business. You're going to need cutouts for your products if you're going to be getting in the shopping pages. If you're an expert coach, that sort of thing. Think about headshots, and also think about these in portrait and landscape. Landscape going to take up more space in the magazine. So having different images that really convey who you are and what your brand does. So I think they're the key things to get you started.
And so we talked about the uplifting visitors to the website once something gets picked up, but will journalists actually check out your website? And should you have a page dedicated to them?
Yes, some journalists will and others won't. I'll tell you a story that I have a candle brand. I closed that in 2020. I was in Prima magazine last year telling all about how candles are really great and this is how you keep them longer. The journalist hadn't even checked to see if my website was still, active. So that was just lazy journalism. But, so not always. They won't always go and check your website. But I think it is always good to have a space on there, just with your images where they can download them. If you can't put them on the website, just have a link to a Google Dropbox, Google Drive or something like that. You can also have like any key topics on there that you can speak about if you're an expert. But yeah, you can have a page, but a lot of the time journalists don't check out your website. They're really busy people. They just rely on the stuff that we send them to be accurate and all they need. And like I say, they do file away stuff and use it later down the line.
So that's interesting, that story about you, that they must have had that stored away somewhere to pull out that quote and not check to see whether your business is still alive.
Yeah, there's me doing my looking and seeing who was featured in the press. I'm like, me?
So we've talked about the pre-prep. Tell us a bit more about your R.I.P.P system.
So my R.I.P.P system is my step-by-step process for getting featured in the press. And really, like I say, it's so simple, but you just need to follow these 4 steps. So the first one is research. It's actually my favorite step. I love reading magazines. So if you want to get featured in magazines and newspapers, you need to read them. So definitely get some magazines that you think might be suitable for you. So you want to get magazines that your ideal customer will be reading, because they're the ones you want to feature in, because you want to be in front of your ideal customer. And you want to research these magazines. What are the sorts of stories that they are running? What products do they feature? Who is the target audience of the magazine? And when you start to collate all this information, you can then make an informed decision on whether or not the magazine is actually a fit for your brand. Because one of the things I hear quite often is when I say, watch the wish list, what magazine do you want to be featured in? People come back to me and say Vogue. Everybody says Vogue. And I'm like, amazing. It's such an aspirational magazine to be featured in. But is there really a connection between your product and the magazine? Because obviously Vogue is a very luxurious, high-end magazine. And if you're selling like a £10 hair bow or something, it's not going to be a fit. And I know sometimes being honest with yourself is like, oh, I really want to be in that magazine. But you're wasting your time and the journalist if there's not a connection there. So just be mindful of that. So after you've done your research, you need ideas, because you can't just go to a journalist and say, I'm a life coach, do you want to feature me? Or I've got this hand cream, do you want to feature me? You have to give them some sort of idea. We need to land in the inbox with something that's going to make them think, oh, I'm going to be working on a story on Mental Health Awareness Week. And obviously this lady can help me with these expert comments. Or it's, National Strawberry Day and you've got a strawberry scented candle. You need to have some sort of idea. We're just thinking of a way to get into the journalist's inbox here. It doesn't have to be anything massive, but you just need some ideas. And you need ideas that you can pitch throughout the year as well.
Mhm.
And then when it comes, the next step is then pitching, which is the bit everybody gets their knickers in a twist with. But it's the bit that it can be so, so simple. You only want to tell the journalist why you're getting in contact. That's all we're doing. We're just pitching and saying, it's National Strawberry Day on the 29th of April. I've got a strawberry candle. If you're doing anything, it would be great if you could feature this. We are just giving them that little bit. That's all we're doing, explaining why we should be featured in the magazine and why their readers should care. And it's exactly the same whether you're a product-based business or a service-based business. You are just giving the journalist your ideas. And then the fourth P is plan, because like I say, it's very unlikely you send out the email, the journalist comes back to you that month. So you need to be pitching every single month to the journalist. You can pitch to the same journalist, but you need different ideas to be pitching. So this is where I use awareness days, because it's one of the easiest things to create hooks around. If you've got something in your business, maybe you're doing something that's new, a collaboration, you've won an award, there are lots of ways and ideas that you can slide into their inbox and start the conversation with them.
So, out of interest, because before we came on, we were talking about awards. How would you pitch an award? Like, you've won an award, how would you pitch that to a journalist? Because it in of itself, it's not an interesting thing to them.
Yeah, I think you need to make sure you're pitching if you've won an award, I would always do this to local press rather than national, unless it's a massive award. But your local press, you just want to write a press release. And a lot of the time, if you've won an award with a sort of a bigger organization, they give you the press release template. And I would just use that. Let's work smarter. Let's not work harder here. Use that press release and literally send it to the news desk. But generally, your press release for awards would just be an A4 sheet, not too much information. And your first paragraph includes everything that the journalist needs to know: the what, the why, the who, the where, and the how, all in that first paragraph. So in that paragraph, they can then make the decision, okay, this is of interest to me. And then you will just expand a little bit more throughout the press release. Press releases, you only need these if you have something that's newsworthy. So if you are just writing because you've got some amazing expert tips on how to make your garden burst with colour this summer, you wouldn't need a press release for that.
Okay.
Press releases are just for newsworthy items.
Yeah. So if you've got, like you said, the gardening thing, that's more of sending a pitch and saying,
yes,
if you're featuring.
Yeah. I rarely write press releases.
Yeah. Interesting. So would you, like when you're pitching to the journalist, how would you set out the email for that?
It's just nice and simple. Put everything in the body of the email. Don't put any attachments on there. And literally in that email, personalize it to the journalist. If you've done research on the magazine, show them that you've done the research, that you know where your product or your tips are going to fit within that magazine. Put a little synopsis in there if you are like wanting to give expert comment on something, so they know that what you can give them. But everything in that email window, and keep it short, succinct, to the point. They get hundreds of emails every single day, so do just keep it short and sweet. And one of the key things is making sure that subject line is telling them exactly what they need to know. No clickbaity stuff, we don't want any of that. But we just need to tell them in that line what we are trying to say. And I think I read somewhere that it's only the first 6 words that will show up on somebody's phone. So they need to make sure you've got it really to the point.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in any kind of emails that you send, subject lines, I feel are important. They help you to get those opens. So and nothing clickbaity, for sure.
Yeah.
So you've done your planning, and how far in advance would you plan? Because if you're saying we have to pitch every month, how far, and what are the general kind of guidelines in terms of how, where you pitch things into at what time?
So this is the bit some people really struggle to get their head around. So if you are pitching to monthly magazines, so this might be something like Prima, Country Living, Red, they tend to work 3 to 4 months in advance. So right now they're working on their June issues. So you would be needing to think of ideas that are related to the summer, related to that time of year, with your pitching. So it could be for your product-based business, Father's Day, something around that. Obviously, if you're an expert, maybe like I say, the gardening, how to get more out of your garden this summer, whatever it is, June is the time, is what they're working on now. For your weekly magazines, they work 4 to 8 weeks in advance. So they're sort of looking at the end of April now, beginning of May. So you're sort of looking at, bank holidays, starting to get outside, springtime. So that's the sort of time frame. But for online, that's 1 to 4 weeks in advance. Sort of 4 weeks is sort of any planned features. So if they're running like an online gift guide, or they're doing something on International Women's Day, they would have planned those sorts of things out. But things that are really newsworthy, things that happen, really quickly, they can turn around obviously within the hour. So it's just getting those lead times are really important, and that's why it's so important to plan, because obviously you need to be thinking way ahead.
When you do your research and you sort of pick, I don't know, a handful of magazines, is there somewhere, like, do they have an editorial plan that people can look at? Is that freely available, or is what you've just said the kind of rule of thumb?
Yeah, I mean, it's mainly the trade magazines, that will have an editorial calendar, because obviously they're trying to tie in their advertising with their editorial. But the sort of mainstream magazines that you see in like Tesco's or WH Smith, your best route is to create ideas and pitch them into the magazines.
Okay.
However, I will say, if you can get hold of issues and have a look what they did in previous years, because generally they do follow a pattern. January is usually all about sleep and everything, and things do follow a pattern year in and year out. So you can like garner some ideas and get inspiration from previous issues. But it's just thinking of different ideas, really, which when you first start doing your PR is a bit difficult, I think. But the more you do it, the more opportunities you will spot for your business.
And this to me is, again, this is another reason why it's so important to plan your marketing and know in advance what you're going to talk about. Because for a business, take the gardening business, they might start talking about how to make the most of your garden in May, but realistically, to get into a June issue of a magazine, they'll have to have pitched it a few months ahead of time. So it really needs a good calendar, if you like, of where you want to be and when.
Exactly.
It's worth putting in that work, and especially if you get featured somewhere and your website's inundated and you're collecting those email addresses.
Exactly. Yeah, and your PR plan doesn't have to be set in stone. You can make it flexible, and things obviously do change. But it is good you're not overwhelmed when you sit down to do your PR in March, thinking, "Oh God, I don't know what to do." If you've got a loose plan in place, at least you've got some ideas there. And throughout the year, you'll just get the ideas. And like I say, the easiest ones to hook onto are the awareness days, because there are so many. And if you can just think of one thing that's going to relate to, I don't know, National Roses Week, or Gardening for Health, or whatever the date is, just because we're saying that to the journalists doesn't mean that's the hook they are going to use. Like I say, we are just giving them ideas so we can like email them. We need a reason to be emailing them. So
yeah. And when should you start thinking about pitching for Christmas? Like, if you want to appear in stuff in the lead up to Christmas, what should that look like?
So this is the exception to the rule. Christmas, it takes forever for the magazines to put these together, because it's such a big topic. It encompasses everything from your gift guides, how to cook your turkey, how to look after your mental health, how to avoid conflict with your mother-in-law, all these different things. So it takes them a good 6 months to plan everything and get everything out there. And also, it's not just one issue that features Christmas, especially with the monthlies. You'll see it creeping into October, and then it goes into November and December. And the weeklies is over several issues. So they tend to start, it starts earlier and earlier every year. July. You've probably heard of Christmas in July.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. So this is when it all starts, really. I tend to get my clients and my students on board in May. I'm going to be talking about Christmas now for the next 6 months, and this is what we do, because it's so competitive Christmas, especially if you're a product-based business with those Christmas gift guides. It is so competitive. So being prepared early for Christmas is going to pay dividends. Yeah, so even if you're a service-based business or you're an expert or a coach, you need to be thinking June, July to start getting those pitches out to the monthlies. For your monthlies, you'll probably pitch July to August, maybe into September, and then from September to October you're going to be doing your weeklies, and then it's November, the rest would be your dailies and your online press. So it's a long old process for Christmas. It just doesn't stop.
So we've got our planning system. Tell us some of the pitfalls, common pitfalls that people should try and avoid.
So I think some of the key ones, we have touched on them, is not doing the research for the magazine. You need to really understand the sorts of stories they're featuring. There's no point in contacting someone like Shout Magazine about menopause products or menopause tips and advice when that's a teenage magazine. There's absolutely no disconnect there. And this is really key, especially if you're doing things on X or Twitter and you're looking through the journal requests and you're just seeing one that says, I'm looking for, I don't know, tips on managing children or whatever it is, and you're whizzing out your tips, but you haven't even done the research on what the magazine that they're looking for. You still need to do that. Just because they've told you exactly what they're looking for, you still need to make sure that you're the right person to be getting featured in that again. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time and the journalist. So that research piece is absolutely key. And some of the other pitfalls are the timing thing. It really is important to be pitching at the right time. And that is definitely one of the things I see the most, that people, oh, can you get me in the Christmas gift guides? And I'm like, no, because it's October. They're done. It's, timing piece is absolutely key. And I think the other thing is, well, the final one is the pitfalls of PR is not looking at the bigger picture when it comes to it, because a lot of people will be like, oh, I didn't get any sales from that, didn't get any inquiries from that. But look at the bigger picture, especially with online press, those backlinks to your website are all going to help with your SEO. We're building our email lists, you really do need to look at the whole thing before deciding whether PR is not working. Because a lot of the time, if you are just relying on it for a sales boost, then you're going to be disappointed. It is about the long game with PR.
I think that's true of all marketing, right? It's not something that you can start doing and expect results straight away, because it takes time to build a following. It takes time for people to like what you're saying, and just to have that, just constantly in the background. And it is about consistency. You have to keep doing, showing up every day to achieve that consistency. And if you've got a plan, that makes things so much easier, because if you're trying to think of what to pitch when you're open that email to that journalist, of course you're going to give up, because I never think of great ideas under pressure for my business. I have to take time out to do that. So absolutely, I think what you've sort of shown us today is that PR is like any other part of marketing. It needs a strategy and a plan behind it, and you need to really understand your audience, and your audience is your end audience, the people that you're targeting, but also your journalists, right?
Exactly. And like, one of the thing is that people give up on PR so quickly because they don't see the whatever results they're expecting, yet they will still spend hours each week crafting something to put on social media that 5 people will see, and then it to be gone. And it just makes me, my mind is blown by that, and I'm like, try something else. I just think social media should be this layer. Do it constantly, but if you can only do 3 times a week on social media, great, but don't put all your eggs in one basket. Layer up with your PR, your Pinterest, your email marketing, your SEO, all of the other stuff.
Absolutely. Well, Louise, this has been great, and I could talk to you for a good while longer. We're out of time almost. Do check out Louise's website. She really does empower people to do PR themselves. So if you don't have budget to work with an agency, Louise is your go-to person, right? If you're going to do this yourself, and like we said at the beginning, try this for yourself so that you know exactly what is involved in PR, and then when you do have budget to work with someone, it means that you know what they're talking about. And not that a lot of businesses do this, but they don't pull the curtains over your eyes. What am I saying? I don't know, mixing my metaphors. If you're watching and you don't belong to the Marketing Morsel Club, please join. It's my weekly newsletter plus more. There are other benefits to being in that club. One of those is a private Facebook group. There's lots more, so check out that link. And in 2 weeks' time, we are going to be talking about video marketing. So video is the hot topic. I'm talking to expert Matt Wareham. And we're talking about how small businesses can get started with video. So if you want to set yourself a reminder, I'm just going to paste the link into the chat there. Set yourself a reminder, and I will be live with Matt in 2 weeks' time. But it just leaves me to say thank you so much to Louise for joining me today, and for all of that really valuable information that you've given us. Please do check out Louise's website, and I will see you in 2 weeks' time. Take care.